Alright, good day students. So in this video we're going to go ahead and solve the leap year calculator in React. So what I'll do is go ahead and open up my terminal, and here I'll go ahead and create my project. Remember, to do React projects you need to do npx, then create dash react dash app followed by the name. In this case I'll just call it leap cal. Leap cal. We'll go ahead and hit enter and let that generate. Depending on your internet connection, this sometimes will take a little bit longer, sometimes it'll be a little bit faster. Hopefully it'll go a little bit faster for us in this case. And what I'll do is I'll go ahead and pause the video until this finishes. Alright, so now that is done, as you can see here, again, whenever you create a project, make sure to go ahead and change the directory into that project. cd leap cal. And then we can go ahead and run our code by doing npm start. And that'll just go ahead and bring up the vanilla template for React. And we'll just wait for that to finish loading over. Let me drag it over, and here we go. All right, let me move that to the side so we can continue for right now. All right, so let's go over to the leap calculator, into our sources folder, and we're going to go ahead and open up the app.js. So I'm going to go ahead and remove all the code in here. And then we're going to go ahead and also remove this part in here. And you can go ahead and leave the import app CS if you wish. I'm just going to leave it in there so we can get a little bit of style in our code. So first thing is first, we're going to go ahead and import the React and the useState libraries from React. And whenever you see that it is not auto-completing for you, make sure that you change your language from JavaScript up to JavaScript React. That way it'll help us out a little bit more with the autocomplete functions in here. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is create my useState. So I'm going to do a constant, go ahead and declare the variable which is going to be for the setting, so it's going to be the year, and then I'm just going to call this calculate. First, you know what, we'll just call it set results. I think it'll be easier to understand for you guys. And then we'll set this equal to useState. And then the default state is going to be an empty string. Alright, so let's go ahead and start adding some HTML in here. So we'll do an h1 tag, just informative. Be your calculator. And then we'll set a paragraph tag. It'll be type a number. Type a year to see if it is the year. And nothing too fancy, but just make it a little bit more. Then we'll add the input and tag. We'll change this to number. Let accepts values. Then we'll go ahead and add a button. And we'll just say calculate. Alright, so in here we have a few things that we need to do. The first thing that we need to do is go ahead and set some parameters for our input so that way we are able to receive the values. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is create another variable up here, and I'll just call this var user input. So whatever the user types in, we'll go ahead and grab that over. So over back in our input here, we'll do the following. So we'll set an onChange. Whoops, change. And we're going to set an event. And then we're going to wrap that event around parentheses. So it is So equal arrow function, and we're going to open up another set of parentheses. So it is a function that is receiving a value. Then we're going to say user input equals to the event dot target dog value. Now, as you can see, these are still very much DOM oriented elements. As you can see, we're just going into the name of our variable, grabbing the target, and then just grabbing the value, and then just we're setting that inside of the user input. So at this stage, we're basically just grabbing whatever the user passes in and setting it inside of our user input. All right, that would be it for our input. Now inside of our calculate, inside of our calculate button, we're going to go ahead and do onClick. Click, there we go. And here we're just going to go ahead and, well, I'm going to type it right now and then is leap. This is how we're going to go ahead and access our logic of our code. So over here, I'm going to create const is leap. Now we're going to set that equal to a function where we're actually going to go ahead and do our logic. Now from here on, it's pretty much the exact same thing that we did on our previous code. So we're going to say if, and then we're going to say user input is equal to 0. And you know what? Let me just go ahead and wrap this entire thing inside of another set of parentheses to avoid any future problems. Then we're going to say and user input is not equal to 0 in this case. And then that's the first logical statement. So if it is divisible by 4, but it is not equally divisible by 100, then that means that it is a leap year. And the second scenario where we can go ahead and have a leap year is the following. So we'll just go ahead and copy the following as well. I'll copy this, but in this case, it is evenly divisible by 100, and user input is not evenly divisible by 400. No, I'm sorry, it is evenly divisible by 400. So in this case, I'll do all that. So if all these are true, then we'll just use set results to it is a leap year. And then we'll set our else statement. So if anything does not meet this criteria, we'll just copy this. It is not a leap year. So I'll go ahead and hit save. It'll get auto formatted so it's a little bit more legible. Let me bring over my little window. So type to see, so I'll do 2020, calculate. You know what? Of course, it would help if we had somewhere to actually display our result, right? So let's go down here, open up another pair of brackets. So we're going to use the year to be displayed there. And what we can do is, to make it even more legible, we'll do an H1 tag and then just place that in there, like so. And I'll save that, refreshes out, and where is my, here. So, refresh this as well. So, 2020, it is a leap year. 1999, it is not a leap year. 2000, it is a leap year. 2024, it is a leap year. 2025, it is not a leap year. So there we go. So as you can see, while it might seem a little bit more work having to do this inside of React, in the long run, more complicated code are where we wouldn't be required to interact more with the DOM is actually going to be simplified quite a bit for us using React. As you can see, this might seem a little bit counterintuitive, whereas before it would have been just much easier to just do the DOM assignments. And you know what? Let me just bring up the codes side by side so we can analyze them. So here, right, let me just set them side by side like that. I'll close it here. So as you can see here, like, take into account, and we're also looking at our HTML in here, right? But in this case, like I said, the logic in and of itself is not all that different. It's actually basically the same thing. What we are changing, however, is how we interact with the DOM, right? So whereas over here, we need to go ahead and actually fetch those values manually. Over here, we don't need to go ahead and assign any IDs or anything like that, or at least not at this level. As you can see here, we have our value where we go ahead and print out that. Basically, these lines of code get replaced by this part here, right? So we interact with the DOM through the set states because we are changing the state of the page through these values. Whatever we want to go ahead and display inside the year, we use the set result to set the year. And that's how, as you can notice, these values get passed inside the year, and the year just prints those values out. Now, in here, we needed to go ahead and grab result, which would have been the year in this case. Go ahead and set those values in here like that. So we're not interacting in such an immediate manner inside of DOM with React. And like I said, this might not be the most obvious time saver for you guys to go ahead and start this out, but as you can see, side by side, again, remembering that this is also our HTML, we are saving ourselves some time right now. All right, so that is it for this video. I'll be seeing you in the